Welcome to Crosscut Now. In today's episode, we're celebrating Black History Month. We're taking a look back to reflect on the bravery and contributions of Black military personnel, commonly known as Buffalo Soldiers. We'll explore how their bravery paved the way for all of us. Plus, nearly half of the nation's drinking water may contain what's called forever chemicals, according to a 2023 U.S. Geological Survey report. We'll tell you about how some Washington state water systems with a reputation for high-quality water aren't immune. And Black, Alaskan Native, and American Indian women face disproportionate rates of pregnancy-related deaths in the U.S. Details ahead on what major companies in Washington are providing paid benefits for doulas. I'm Paris Jackson. Today's top story, we're celebrating Black History Month with a look at military service. We'll revisit the often overlooked legacy of Black soldiers. Magnifying Black History Month past and present, sacrifice, love of country, and valor, Black military men enlisted to serve their community and nation. The original 4 Buffalo Soldier regiments got their moniker from Native Americans. One of those 4 was the 24th Infantry Regiment, which would later have ties to Washington state. It was active from 1869 to 1951. Those men fought during the Civil War and other significant wars, segregated from their white counterparts in the U.S. military. The 24th Infantry was reactivated in 1995 and assigned to the 1st Brigade, 25th Infantry Division in Fort Lewis, now known as Joint Base Lewis McChord in Pierce County. While Black servicemen were on the battlefield serving their country, back home they faced discrimination, Jim Crow, and lynchings.
In 1917, one of the things that you could do to make your family proud and to make your community proud was to join the Army.
I sat down with University of Washington Tacoma Associate Professor Luther Adams, free man of color, to learn why the importance of Black military service must not be forgotten. Welcome, Professor Luther Adams, free man of color, to Crosscut Now.
Thank you for having me.
This month, February, we're talking about Black History Month. It's American history, and we're exploring the past and the present. Why is it important to talk about the service of Black men and women and the contributions that they've had on America?
I think Black history is important in and of itself, but this specific question is one about Black people's contribution in terms of democracy, in terms of freedom, equality, civil rights. And for many Black people themselves, it of course was, really an economic boon and a foundation of a Black middle class.
When we talk about some of those men and women that were instrumental in service, they're also known as the Buffalo Soldiers, and they had tremendous contributions to World War I, World War II. Why is that remembrance important? Because it's often overlooked.
I think it's important because Black people have been involved in really every war that the United States has had, have participated in it, have laid their lives down really for this country, even though they often did so in a country that did not treat them equally or fairly. So I think understanding the role of Buffalo Soldiers tells us a lot about African American history, but it also tells us about American history as well.
You recently did a talk, and it was highlighting the contributions of the 24th Infantry Regiment, and they have ties to our home state here. What are some of those things that a lot of people may not know about that segment of Buffalo Soldiers?
I think that the term Buffalo Soldiers today is broadly used for all African American soldiers as a whole. But in that time period, there were specifically 4 infantries and 2 cavalries that came out to the west. And these soldiers of the 24th Light Infantry have an incredible history in Washington state. They were down in Fort Vancouver, involved in mining disputes and labor disputes and setting peace. They were up at Fort Lawton in Discovery Park, what we call it today. They even went to the north further to Alaska. And so their legacy in the region is long-lasting and deep and cuts across many of the other histories of Washington state as well.
Let's talk about the irony of Black soldiers. At home, they faced discrimination, but in juxtaposition, they were risking their lives around the world for freedom.
I think that's one of the deepest ironies, but also tragedies of the history of Buffalo Soldiers, or really the history of Black people in America. So for instance, in World War I, the idea was that war was making the world safe for democracy, but Black people certainly didn't face that here in the United States. There was Jim Crow, lynching, segregation, violence, disfranchisement. Similarly, World War II was the time period for Black soldiers of the Double V campaign, the victory over fascism abroad and the victory over fascism here at home. So I think for many Black people, they tied their service to not only advancing the aims of the nation, but also advancing the race, advancing issues of justice, equality, freedom. And so I think the Black experience, and particularly the Black military experience encapsulated in the Buffalo Soldiers, gets at the heart of those questions.
What do you want people to remember, again, as we highlight Black history and then we think about the contributions of those who risked their lives? How is this pushing us forward?
I think they did so in a variety of ways. They contributed to advancing the aims of this country, defending democracy. In World War I, they were known as torchbearers of democracy. They have made contributions that are vital to the civil rights movement. They were people like Medgar Evers, who experienced segregation in the military in Europe and came home determined to have freedom. And he began to organize for voter rights campaigns. So the experience of Black soldiers, I think, is one that directly connects to civil rights, it directly connects to the expansion of democracy. And for many, there's always the idea that Black history is American history, but really deeper than that, I think Black history challenges us to look at American history from different perspectives and different eyes.
It was a pleasure speaking with you, Professor Adams.
Thank you for having me.
If you would like to learn more about topics like this or additional resources, go to humanities.org. Forever chemicals have been found in some Washington drinking wells and stations. We'll explain the health risks these chemicals might pose. Some small Washington cities that had a reputation for having crystal clear drinking water are dealing with a nearly invisible problem in their water wells. Recent tests reveal several wells in Tumwater are contaminated with PFAS or PFAS, but also commonly known as forever chemicals. These are human-made chemicals used in products ranging from rain jackets to Teflon pans that are not easily broken down in the environment. They have been found to have negative health impacts. In 2021, tests revealed 2 Tumwater wells that serve 94 homes in the community were over the state's acceptable levels for PFAS. Meanwhile, in Vancouver, Washington, the city discovered in 2020 that 5 of its 9 water stations had concentrations of PFAS above the state action level, and 3 additional stations were above the expected EPA level. The federal EPA is in the process of issuing regulations on forever chemicals. Officials say a study between the state ecology and health departments is underway to estimate how much it will cost to address these problems. Birth justice advocates say better use of doulas may help offset medical racism and undo the harm of long-standing health inequities. We'll tell you about the companies who are now offering financial support for doula care. Some Washington workers now have more support to pay for a doula through their health care insurance at work. While the advocates say universal access remains a distant goal, a few large companies operating in Washington, including Walmart, Microsoft, and CVS, now offer varying amounts of doula coverage as a paid benefit after a push from a coalition of local birth workers. Medicaid reimbursement for doulas is in the works in the state, too. Birth justice advocates say this support has the potential to save lives and to improve long-standing racial disparities in maternal and infant mortality. In the U.S., Black and Alaskan Native and American Indian women face disproportionate rates of pregnancy-related death, and in Washington, they're more likely to give birth to babies of low birth weight. Despite the financial and health advantages of access to doulas, it's still rare for companies to provide it in their medical coverage. I'm Paris Jackson. Thank you for watching Crosscut Now, your destination for nonprofit Northwest news. Go to crosscut.com for more.